And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We have Crusty Old Guy once again. Guys, just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, or however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. If you are going to a game this season, two things, because I realize that we haven't been saying the second thing, and we are going into week 3.
Yes, that's on you.
If you're going to a game, any game, really, at all, ever, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up while the puck's in play. Shout out to the drunk guy that was like 4 seats over from us at the Ducks game that went down one row and then told his friends, no, I think I'm supposed to wait. Shout out to you, guy. You were right. You are supposed to wait. So please wait for the whistle. Do not get up while the puck's in play. And if you're going to a Blackhawk game at all this season, I highly recommend Su Taqueria El Rey del Taco over on Ogden, just a couple of blocks away from the United Center. Excellent food, excellent people. And like I said, it's just a couple of blocks away from the United Center. So even though it is getting cold and it will be cold soon, you don't have to walk that far. It's actually a closer distance than really any of the other restaurants outside of the United Center. And in the United Center, who really wants $15 chicken nuggets?
And it's delicious.
It is delicious.
And you could have a chance to eat with Krusty. Nothing better than that. Let me tell you.
Nothing better than that. All right, Christy, let's get into it. We have one quick thing that we're going to mention quickly, and then we're going to move on very swiftly from it, just because neither of us really want to talk about it for too long. Carter Hart has signed a professional tryout contract with the Vegas Golden Knights. For those who don't know, Carter Hart is one of the 5 plus potentially more people involved in the World Juniors 2018 trial that happened. The trial was like a couple of months ago, but the verdict came out at least somewhat recently. He has signed a professional tryout contract with Vegas. We're not going to talk about it a ton. There's plenty of other people that have a platform that are very educated about the situation, that have written many articles. That is not us. If you are interested in learning more about that, I would highly recommend seeking other individuals out. However, I just do want to make it abundantly clear that because we don't talk about it does not mean that we are in support of how the end of the trial went or in support of Carter Hart coming back to the NHL, because I am not in support of it. I just don't talk about it a ton on my platform. Krusty, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Nope.
Okay. We are moving on. Still in the NHL world. We have a really, really great thing. 2 great things that have come out of Winnipeg this week. One, you have Johnny's first goal as a Winnipeg Jet. Unfortunately, it was not in home. It was at the Saddle Dome, but he still has his first goal as a Winnipeg Jet.
But when we get our internship, we'll be able to segue and we'll have the clip of the goal as Johnny goes down to the knee and does the ice punch. Been waiting 2.5 years for that.
It was really great to watch. And sorry, Spencer Knight, but I'd really love to see that when we go in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't need to see that.
I need to see it. I need to see it. And also with the Winnipeg Jets, I don't think it was the same game. I think it was a couple of games prior, but Mark Scheifele has surpassed Wheeler and leads the all-time leading goals for the Winnipeg Jets. Great accomplishment. We're both pretty big fans of Mark Scheifele. The man has quite literally gone through hell and back this year. So exciting to see him, achieve a milestone.
Yes.
Jumping over to our other former Chicago Blackhawk. Yes, Christy. Guys, I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking at all. But there's rumor, but Patrick Kane is day-to-day right now, and it's rumored that it's going to be more than just day-to-day. And I really don't care about, the productivity of the Detroit Red Wings. But this man needs to eat some pasta in February. This man needs to eat a calzone in February and put on the red, white, and blue in February. And so, Kane, or whatever you got going on, take care of it now and come back and continue what you were doing, because you were on a little bit of a heater prior to this day-to-day injury. But come back, keep going, because he's got to eat some pizza in February.
Well, we've discussed. I don't believe that will be happening. So
then the Olympics are useless. Useless.
Well, you might have a NASCAR there, so you never know. Might not be worthless.
Well, it won't be worthless because this man hopefully will be behind the bench for Team Finland. But showtime, get it taken care of, and then come back to eat some good food in February. It's still early on in the season, but I feel like we do have some surprises. Yes, Christy?
Well, are we going to talk surprises first? Are we going to talk about the crying today?
Okay, I loved it. So if you're going to make fun of him, then we're not talking about it.
I'm not going to make fun of him. It was very emotional, but I think we should at least mention Brad Marchand going back to Boston.
Yes, it was great. It was Shout out to Boston fans.
So I don't know what he was expecting, but you don't play for a team for that long, and just because you left and expect them to then all of a sudden yell out the boo birds.
No,
unless you go to your arch enemy after you've stated for 12 years that you would never, ever in your life put on that jersey, you're okay.
Krusty, I thought you were past that. I was the one holding the grudge.
I'm past it. I'm just saying there's
anyone really let go of that grudge.
But it was I didn't catch it live. I caught a little glimpse of it and I just figured it should be mentioned. I guess we can now move on.
Yeah. It was a 3-minute standing ovation. I expect that Marchie would have expected something, but I don't think he's really any of them. I mean, Kaner was the same way when he came back. I don't think you go in expecting like, oh yeah, they're going to keep applauding and I'm going to circle around the ice multiple times and they won't stop cheering for me. Like, I think you expect something, but I don't know how much like in your head. Sure, you daydream, but like what you realistically expect that you're going to get coming back.
Well, if you've won 3 Stanley Cups for that team, that's what you would expect. There's no way you expect any hardship. But it was good for him. It's good emotion. He's an emotional player. So I just wanted to mention it. Now we can go on.
We can go
now that I've stopped you. So I don't know. I think you might have frozen.
No, we're back.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah. Blame the weather outside.
Well, the weather outside is frightful.
Yeah.
But in my garage, it's so delightful.
But like I said, we have some surprises with the first couple of weeks. There's definitely some teams that we expected to be better in terms of their position, and they are not. And then there's some teams that we thought they were going to be a dumpster fire. Like the Buffalo Sabres right now are in higher standing than the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't think we would have had that on our predictions a couple of weeks ago, Krusty.
We would not have, but I don't worry about Tampa. At the end of the day, they'll get it together. That's too many veterans there. They've only played 6 games.
Yeah.
It's just that I don't worry about. They know how to handle everything.
Yep.
Granted, they're not the team that they used to be, but they're still very, very, very talented. So, and as your host talked about, I mean, as long as Vasilevsky's healthy and Hedman's healthy, they'll be okay. It is a little shocking that they're at the bottom, but
it's a weird sight to see. Like
yeah.
even in the beginning, it's kind of just weird. But another one that seems to be not doing so great, who is in kind of constant competition and social media warfare with us, is the vibes. Has San Jose lost its whimsical vibes? Have we taken the whimsical vibes with Connor Bedard saying, I'm not going to take anyone's shit? Because San Jose has not won yet. You have one of the coaches saying that they'd give up a kid for a win. I mean, that I feel bad for that kid. Like, you should say I would give up my kid for at least a couple of wins. But to all of the to anybody who is very much on the train of, oh, Connor Bedard's so miserable, he's going to go sign in Vancouver. How's Macklin Celebrini looking right now? The sophomore slump is real, friends. It's not even really a sophomore slump because he's just a bit, I mean, it is. But these things take time, and not every year is going to be the magical first year. But yeah, San Jose seems to be losing its whimsy.
Yeah, a little bit. They're struggling a little bit to put the puck in the net. So with that comes a lot of things. So they are what they are. I mean, they're not a great team. I am sure they'll get it together and at least be entertaining. They still have a good amount of young prospects. I understand all the craziness that goes on the X, the Y, the Z, but as I've said, I've tuned most of that out. I've done a much better job of understanding the way this new world works. And people throw stuff out. So people throw stuff. It's all about getting everybody worked up. And I can tell you, it's Krusty's done getting worked up about anything. I do not add any gas to any of these fires except, when I'm working out, then I'll do it for a second. Maybe a tiny clip on this show, but I'm trying to get away from it. And the Chicago Blackhawks are helping me get away from it.
Yeah.
Because with a better product, I'm not looking to fight anybody anymore either.
That's good for everyone. And then final thing with the NHL. Kristy, did you see? Oh, yes.
Speed round number 2. Well, are we going to talk about teams that we didn't think we thought were going to be dog shit? Are we allowed to say dog shit?
Yeah.
We are? That's excellent. Because I know for me, I called out one Sidney Crosby.
Oh, probably me too.
And they're up 5-1 again tonight, and they seem to be playing pretty well. So that's the one team I got that, wasn't supposed to be all that good and is.
So. I think mine is the Kraken right now. I mean, I've liked the Kraken, but I have definitely questioned the brain of Ron Francis with some choices in terms of like contract extensions and draft choices, but they seem to be doing well.
Yes, they do. Okay. That's all I wanted to do.
Me too. Kristy, did you see the clips from the Toronto-Seattle game?
I have not.
My goodness. All right, let me paint you a visual picture. Stolarz is in net. Marchment essentially gets like shoved in to Stolarz. Stolarz gets up, throws the net, and then starts pounding on Mason Marchment. But the big issue is not, I mean, yes, that Anthony Stolarz got hit in the head once more is a significant issue, but there was no one backing up or defending Anthony Stolarz or protecting him until Anthony Stolarz started beating up on Mason Marchman. In the video, you can see Brandon Carlo standing in front of him with straight legs. And it's not until Stolarz starts throwing punches that Carlo was like, oh, I need to go support my goaltender. If that's not the most Toronto thing I have seen, this poor goaltender. And we're only like what, week 3 into the season? So
that's not good.
no.
That is extremely bad optics. And it's weird that Craig Berube doesn't come out and say something or at least talk to the team. If you watch the Florida Panthers play, if you get close to Bob, you get pummeled.
Yeah. And I will say Berube did, so after the game, Stolarz essentially gets more and more pissed with every question with the media, calls out Willie Nylander and his poor performance during the game, and kind of just essentially calls out the entire team. And Berube, they did ask Berube the following day, and he's like, I get it, frustration, like we've had a talk, frustrations boil over, it's done, we're moving on. And I'm like, but are you really? Because this seems to be the same sort of like culture mentality of we don't stick up for other people that I've seen pretty consistently within the Toronto Maple Leafs, no matter who's in the front office or who's the coach.
Yeah, for me it's pathetic. Just because it's just a regular season game. You have to set boundaries. And the boundaries you're setting is he's open game.
Right.
And you're probably looking at maybe you make it to the Cup Finals if he's healthy. How you don't sit back and take a 4-minute penalty, you don't care. You are the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that basically means you will be a playoff team. There's enough talent there to make the playoffs. One single game means nothing. Going roughshod on Marchman means everything. So I don't know if there was any payback during the game, but it's a bad optic, especially a team that you're only going to see one other time this year. You can't, I understand maybe if, it's somebody you play 5 times, you put it in your back pocket. But as Toronto and what Toronto has been, I don't think that's acceptable.
No.
So, but I love it.
Got anything else for the NHL world?
I don't believe so.
All right.
No.
And I am going to hold so I can find my prospect report. We're going to jump over to the kiddos. If I can find my piece of paper that has all of our stats. It was a light
Rusty
week.
can tell you they're on a tear. They're all on a tear. We're all going all the way. We got people that are player of the week, player of the century, player of the month.
I thought I told you you're not allowed to talk during prospect report because your sarcasm.
But I'm trying to segue until you find the paper. I thought you saying I don't know where the paper is was you giving me permission to talk, saying, Krusty, fill this. We can't have dead air. It's very unprofessional.
There you go. Thank you.
What happened there?
Nothing. You're perfect.
See, I jump in and I still get smacked around. Krusty's going to get fired.
All right. For a prospect report, we have 3 goals and 3 assists for Jack Pridham out of the Kitchener Rangers, You have 2 goals and 2 assists from Merrick Vanaker from the Brantford Bulldogs, 2 assists from Nathan Bem out of the Kamloops Blazers in the WHL. Nothing from Sasha, but I would just like to point out that Sasha has been moved up to the top line for Boston University, so a win is a win. You've got 1 assist for John Mustard and 1 assist for Julius Sump out of Providence College. They only played 1 game this weekend, so I'm okay with just the 1 assist. For Anton Frondell also has been elevated to the top line for the Drew Garden, and you've got 1 goal. You have 1 goal and 2 assists from the Klavna Strassel with UMass, and the one that I always save best for last, because this kid's on a tear. You've got 2 more wins from Adam Gajan out of the University of Minnesota Duluth. Friday was rough, I will say. He did pull out the win, and you're looking at a .922 in terms of average so far with the season.
Okay. And I guess there was a big games for as far as Sasha was concerned. Didn't BU and Michigan State play in back-to-backers?
Yes.
And just to reiterate what Krusty has tried to tell people, that everybody has prospects. Somebody's team had 5 people in that weekend series. And it was not us.
Philly?
Yes.
Well, yeah, because Philly has 3 guys on Michigan State.
Yes, and 2 on BU.
Yeah.
So just letting everybody know there's a lot out there, but that must have been a fun little weekend for them, which hockey doesn't get a lot of airplay, while football is still going on in the college campus. So
true that.
Sorry for speed bump number 3.
No, that's not a speed bump. That's your contribution to the prospect report this week. Got anything else, or shall I go to Rockford?
Go to Rockford.
Rockford had 3 games. Unfortunately, we finally lost, but we have 2 wins to talk about. So we've got 3 games. First game, Rockford versus Texas. The machine that is Rebel Yell. Oliver Moore. Looking
more.
I know it's very early, and this is going to be a gross overreaction, but we kind of saw it last year where Rockford's starting to mimic some of the patterns that you're seeing up at the big club, in terms of you come out really hot in the first and it's great, and your second period is scary, and then you're playing the last 20 minutes trying to play catch up in the third. And fortunately for Rockford, for these first 2 wins, they were able to play catch up, but it's still a pattern that I'm seeing. I see it up at the big club, and I'm seeing it in Rockford, where it's kind of just this for the entire game. Sometimes they can make it work, sometimes they can't. Aiden Thompson had a really good physical presence for Friday night's game. You have EDM and Harding paired together because Nolan Allen and Kevin Korchinski still weren't back yet. They are back now, but for Friday they weren't. So you had EDM with Harding. Camasso was in net. Let's see. Moore and Lardis, I can't speak enough about them. I think at this point they had moved up, that it's essentially the top line right now, that it's Moore and Lardis, and then in between you've got Brett Sini. Misiak has been added. I think he was added at the tail end of last weekend because he missed the first couple of games, not due to injury, just there's a lot of guys down in Rockford. But he's on the third line right now, seems to be working well with Savvy, who's also on the third line. I would imagine that speed plus speed works well together, and that's why it's working. I don't know, but he does seem to be looking pretty okay so far. And yeah, so that was Friday. They ended up coming out with a win, but it was very kind of just back and forth. This leads us to Saturday's game. You had a great hide and seek and Paul goal right at the beginning. Very, very great. Same Friday and Saturday, they essentially ran the same lines. Whether I want to pose this kind of question to you, Christy, because you don't watch AHL all the time, but you've seen enough that whether or not the Chicago Wolves have a talented group, they always seem to be able to out physical and essentially just out body us for the past couple of years. And because we know that right now the Chicago Wolves are the AHL affiliate to the Carolina Hurricanes, and Carolina really doesn't have like a ton in the pipeline. So the Wolves are a lot of AHL players signed with an AHL contract, and then you have a couple of brighter pieces. Like you have the Ungersorum kid, you have Bradley Nadeau, who hit a Michigan this weekend, and as much as I hated to watch it, it was pretty nice to watch. And a couple of years ago, like you had Kuchekov when he was with the AHL, but it seems to just be just more like AHL guys. And I don't know if it's just that they have their number on us, or is it just because we can outplay them, but we can't out physical them, no matter the talent level.
Well, there's a big chip on the shoulder with the Wolves. They understand that Rockford is the Blackhawks affiliate. They understand the importance to their fan base to take care of business against Rockford. So I think that is more in their heads. It's more talked about in the locker room than, say, on the Rockford end. It's a very meaningful series to them as far as vying for fans to continue to come, because that fan base might not be massive, but it's pretty rabid, and it's extremely important to take care of business against Rockford.
Which I will say, as a side note, for anyone that is wanting a great rivalry game and you don't want to pay Blackhawk prices, I would highly recommend an Ice Hogs Wolves game because it is intense, the full 60.
So I think there's just some of that. It's more important to them. And with just having career AHL players, they sometimes get it, and you bring the thump no matter what. You can always bring the thump. So that's just my take on it. As far as the second period stuff, it's the same problem we have up on the big club, and that's discipline.
Yeah, which we'll get to that because I have a bone once again with Bash and Pop in the big club.
We're going all the way this year, and you got a problem with them. Oh my goodness.
Hey, I'm a dynasty kid. I have high expectations. Anyway, getting still with Saturday's game, you had Brezhnoy in goal. Korchinski and Allen were both back from concussion protocol, so I imagine it wasn't anything too crazy of a hit or the issues that they were going through. You had a great Lardis goal. There was a great EDM had a fantastic moment where Chicago was not on the breakaway, but essentially he's chasing after the Chicago guy going towards Brezhnoy. And he doesn't go in for the slash, but he lightly just lifts up Chicago's stick for Brezhnoy to be able to take puck possession. It was a great move by EDM in the defensive end. And so that was probably one of the more noticeable pieces from that game. I thought that was just a big brain move on the EDM kid. Also at this point, Nick Lardis has become the all-time point leader for the AHL after Saturday's game because he is an assisting machine. And I know for some people, they're a little worried because they're like, well, he was scoring goals in Brantford, and now he's just getting assists in Rockford. That's fine. That's fine. As long as this kid puts up numbers, I'm happy. I don't know about you, Christy, but for right now, points, I'm just happy to see consistent points.
Yeah, the stuff that I'm hearing is after the first couple game, he is getting used to the physical play in the AHL. And if you're a Blackhawk fan, that is welcome news to hear.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the biggest thing you're worried about is this game becomes too big and too physical for him. And what I'm hearing from my other people that I also watch the Rockford games is that's not near as bad as we all thought it was going to be, or at least not yet. So
No,
that's great news.
and I think there's been moments, and maybe it was highlighted a little bit just playing Chicago, where you could see that he's just not as strong on his skates as, some other people in Rockford that have been there for a year or plus, or compared to the Chicago kids. But it wasn't at all to like a concerning, like, oh shit, Lardis is on the ice in the defensive end sort of thing. But then also we've had matchups so far, like against Texas, where he's able to really shine. So we're seeing shines, and like you said, the concerns, I think it's going to be a little bit more situational right now because there's just some teams within the division that are a lot more physical, Chicago and Milwaukee being one of them. Especially because Milwaukee still has the LaHaru kid who beat the crap out of Colton that I haven't forgotten about. But yeah, I don't think it's good. You're right. I don't think it's going to be as concerning. Like when Core first came down and we're like, oh, no.
Right. Yeah, as I said, that's just what I'm hearing. So that's good.
Yeah. Final game, Rockford unfortunately lost. Cabessa was in net. He let in 6 goals. I don't put this loss on him. The first one was a Michigan by the kid that basically everybody hated last year, and they didn't understand why he was able to go to World Juniors. Guys, Bradley Nadeau is going to be a terrific hockey player. Calm down. And the other ones were kind of just, there was not a defenseman in sight. They were very much kind of back to back to back. So I imagine after the Michigan, it's got to get into your head a little bit. But it was also just poorly managed. Like the plays were just poorly managed on the defensive end. So it kind of just left Drew a lot more vulnerable than he has been in the past in terms of letting pucks in. So I don't blame it completely on Drew. Just the first half of the first period was just incredibly sloppy. But this was actually a reverse. The first period was bad. Second period, they're able to, regain and even take the lead. But they just end up getting kind of just beaten because they're on the smaller side. And like we said, Chicago's pretty huge in terms of physicality. And another thing, since we're talking about discipline, the Rockford Ice Hogs were taking an obscene amount of penalties on Sunday, which is also a problem that we see within the big club.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're Nightingale, that game you completely throw away. That's 3 games in 3 days. You don't. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
They play Friday, Saturday.
Friday,
You
Saturday,
don't take
Sunday.
anything away from that Sunday game. Whatever happens. That's nuts. So, I don't even put that on my radar. As far as the penalties, they're trying to play more aggressive. I get it. If it's not cleaned up by after the All-Star break, then we can talk. It's a learning thing, hopefully. But I mean, I don't put any stock in the game Sunday. Just because.
And then final news that came out of Sunday's game, unfortunately, Krusty's very sad. Hide and seek and Paul Ledwinski is out for the remainder of the season, needing knee surgery. To anybody that watched the game, you kind of figured that this was pretty bad. It was very much, he was tangled up with another guy on the boards and he went down. the bottom, like below the knee, went one way and the rest of his body went another way. And he had a really hard time getting up. And it was just kind of one of those that you knew something was really going on. So he is out. He is having knee surgery and out at least for the regular season. They did maybe if there's a postseason, he could be back for. We don't know. But it was unfortunate to see because he was definitely taking strides in trying to improve his game compared to last year. He definitely had more of a presence than he did for his first season in Rockford. So it's definitely a big blow for Ledwinski.
Yeah, it's a huge blow for him, number one, because you don't know exactly what you're going to get when you come back from it.
Yeah.
And speed's part of his game. And you throw in the fact that, this organization in the pipeline has a lot of players like hide and seek and Paul. Your third and fourth liners, your energy guys and stuff like that, making it harder to move on up to begin with. So, all I can do is hope it's not as bad as it seemed. As far as playoff, I don't think there's a reason why you would have him come back. You start again next training camp.
Yeah.
But yeah, it stinks.
Yeah, definitely stinks. So yeah, that's all I have for Rockford. Busy weekend for the boys. But still another weekend of good things. We were very much pushing before the season started that Rockford needs to be competitive, and the expectation is high for them to be competitive. And so far in the first couple of weeks, they are being competitive.
Yeah, it's very high with this guy, as I've stated. First or second place. Anything else is a failure for the regular season. So,
yeah. All right, Christy, let's jump to the big clip.
What do you say? We're going all the way.
Sure. So we have 2 games, right? 2 to talk about?
3?
3?
You want to talk about 3? You want to talk about 4?
Well, there was one that we didn't talk about. Did we not talk about St. Louis?
Well, we didn't. Did we talk about the Mammoth? We did talk about the Mammoth, right?
We did talk about the Mammoth. We didn't talk about St. Louis because it was too early. We recorded too early, so we missed St. Louis. Guys, it was great. It was incredible. As someone, I think I will die before my Chicago versus St. Louis rivalry in my head will die. So to beat them 8-3 in their own barn, it was great. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, probably the funnest game we've witnessed in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Beyond a doubt. Is I stated in my preview stuff, this is a team that they've struggled against because they're a little heavier. They seem to cause them problems. St. Louis could not keep up with them. They just couldn't. And when they had their opportunities, they had the door shut on them, basically. It was a coming out party on, national TV. You couldn't have asked for anything to be scripted any better.
This was definitely not pond hockey. St. Louis was playing some pond hockey.
Yeah, I did not watch the interview afterwards. I heard that, they were, oh, geez, much better now. And again, whatever. That is a fantastic win for people like us who have been knee deep in this for the last 2 years. There hasn't been much of this.
Yeah.
Where it just came in waves of beautiful play. Frank Nazar is starting to put himself on a little bit of a national spotlight, which will continue. And, you had the great scene of Connor Bedard and Parenko going at it, and Connor Bedard is not taking any shit anymore.
No.
It was fantastic. The beacon of hope is played a little bit more physical, a little bit with a more snarl.
Love it.
He'll need to watch that a little bit because at some point in time, somebody's just going to decide to thump him. But it's everything you wanted. It was a coming out party and a statement that things might be different.
Yeah. Jumping to Vancouver game. Before we get into the Vancouver game, I would like to read something.
Okay.
Specifically, a rule out of the rule book. In the NHL rule book, or whatever it's called, Rule 69.7, rebounds and loose pucks. In a rebound situation, or where a goalkeeper and attacking players are simultaneously attempting to play a loose puck, whether inside or outside the crease, incidental contact with the goalkeeper may be permitted, and any goal that is scored as a result thereof will be allowed. I just think that's a very important thing to read before getting into the Chicago versus Vancouver game.
Okay. What do you need to say about it?
Tyler Bertuzzi had a good goal. That's what I had to say about it. And I think that's a lot coming from me because I'm not the biggest Tyler Bertuzzi supporter on most days. But that was a good goal. I thought it was bogus. We talk about this. I feel like there's one big game every year that there's no communication inside the arena when it comes to like a controversial thing like this, and we get on our little high horse of why is there not communication for people watching the game at the rink, and there's more communication for people that are watching it on TV. Why do I need to find out via Twitter that there was a coach's challenge? Because they just told me it was under review. Not that there was a coach's challenge, so I'm figuring Toronto's reviewing it.
I thought the same thing. Yeah, we've gone on our soapbox about that. Again, there never seems to be a care for the people in the building. I've been on my high horse about that under reviews and everything, that it kills the flow. Yes, Hockey Princess.
I'm curious if like other fans have that, or is it they just don't care about Blackhawk fans inside the building?
No, I think that's everywhere.
Okay.
I just think on the TV you have more people that are able to get in instant contact with Toronto and then be told that it's, but why they couldn't come and say that Chicago has challenged it, I have no idea. It took us forever to figure out what the heck was going on.
Yeah.
Originally, we thought it was a goalie interference penalty until they later on put up that it was a delay of game, and that still didn't click. You got to do better. You got to do better for the people in the building. Well, not for everybody, just for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of the big exciting thing about the game. You know, you had Donato looking great. I thought Ryan Green had a great game on Friday. You had Artie hitting everyone, and Artie was out there in overtime, and it wasn't scary. He did well in the overtime. It wasn't scary.
Okay. Yeah, they put themselves in a position to win. Call goes against you. You know, we can argue that back and forth. That was, you know, I'm being told it was a pitchfork where he spears his stick in there and moves the goalie pads, which you're not really allowed to do. Again, like everything else in the NHL world, everything's kind of vague.
Yeah.
And when there's vagueness, usually they go with the call on the ice. That's the whole problem with any kind of goalie interference, this pitchfork. When you challenge it, is you just don't know. It's 50-50.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I thought they had a great first. The second was terrifying to watch. Wasn't a big
yes,
fan.
the second is their discipline problems.
Well, they've got discipline problems all over. Because why are we taking so many penalties all the time? Why can Connor Bedard not stop holding people?
Well, that's the holding people. That's a situational thing that he needs to understand. When you're harassing like crazy, like that 200 feet away from your goaltender, all eyes are on you. You have not been in the league long enough to get a pass. So you need to understand that. Did he bring off a hand and grab? Yes. You can't, you just can't do that. That's a disciplinary, that's a discipline area. I like the aggressiveness. I know what he was doing there. He was going to take the puck and get a scoring up. I like that he wanted to do all of that. I have more of a problem with the fact in the second period, this team still hasn't figured out the importance of getting the puck deep and getting these defensemen off the ice.
Poor
In the
Sam.
second period, it becomes vital that you don't need to have a scoring opportunity, but you do need to get the puck all the way down to the other end so your two defensemen can get off the ice.
Yep. Poor Sam Renzel. My goodness. There were
Yeah,
things.
so I mean, I'm sure that's something that Bash is working on. It's difficult with a younger group who's thinking score and not understanding that this at times is just a chess match.
To be fair, they haven't done much of that in the past couple of years. They're a little excited.
Exactly. So, and again, the product he's been given, they haven't cared about any blue line. So it's going to take a little time. I think he'll get them there, but they need to understand that not everything is go for broke and make a play. Sometimes you got to get those defensemen off.
Yes.
It's vital. So,
got anything else on Vancouver?
I don't think so. Was another point. I'll take them.
I know this is not the point of our show, but because I kept yelling it the majority of Friday, I know he's a Canuck now, but I don't care. Guys, I'm so proud of how far Kevin Lankinen has come. That kid was so rushed and so hated here, and he's gotten so much better. And so I'm proud.
Oh, me too. I like Lank. Again, there's been a lot of talk about how genius Kyle Davidson has been to bring in Spencer Knight, but the guy who he let go for nothing beat Spencer Knight. So hey, you don't do everything perfectly.
Yeah.
Goaltenders take a little longer. Kevin was probably the difference. He played phenomenal. So again, we're a team learning how to win, which is better than a team just trying not to lose really bad. So
That is true. That is true. Jumping to the Anaheim game, because we have another win, which is awesome. You had Spencer Knight versus Lucas Dostal. Dickinson's out. Landon's in. We're still running 11 forwards and 7 defensemen because that's just gonna be the vibe of the whole time. Great goal by the NASCAR, as always, because the NASCAR is the NASCAR. I felt like, and maybe it's just because of like the physical presence that Anaheim has with not only how huge they are down the center, but also how big their defensemen are. I felt the absence of Jason Dickinson during the Anaheim game.
Yeah, I mean, he's your shutdown center. So it becomes important. He's also probably your best face-off guy,
Yeah.
especially your duty zone face-offs, which then went to Ryan Green, which I don't have a problem with.
No, and I
Gang
think he
Green
did
is
do well.
Gang Green has done well, but I mean, you'd rather have a veteran like Dickinson in there. Um, yeah, he's going to be missed. He's basically, whatever anybody wants to say with these points coming, these points not coming. The third line's been the best line.
Jason Dickinson and Mickey Mouse are like telepathic.
Right.
And the points are crazy.
So, I mean, they basically got you the win against the Mammoth.
Yeah.
And yeah, he'll be missed. Hopefully he's back for these next two games. Yeah, you worry about Anaheim's two big thumpers on the back end. There wasn't a lot of Gudis thumping and there wasn't a lot of Trubo thumping.
No, but I wonder, like, especially for some of these younger kids, of just the presence of being on the ice at the same time as Jacob Trouba is intimidating in itself, especially if you are one of these smaller kids. Like Connor Bedard probably knows if he gets too close to Jacob Trouba, he's going to get thumped.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd go completely intimidating, but if your hockey intelligence is low, you don't notice when they're on the ice. If you're a smart hockey player, you're darn tootin' you know when either one of them is on the ice.
Yeah.
Because you better figure it out. Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Okay, I got some silly thing going on my screen. So I got to take care of it real quick. Ooh, I took care of it real quick.
One other thing that I did want to mention for the game, and it is unfortunate that his penalty was the reason that we went into overtime. Wyatt Kaiser's game has elevated so much the beginning of the season. I am changing my tune. I'm doing the Stand Wrong song, at least for now, because I was definitely loud on the I don't get it. I get it. I get it. He has been surpassing my expectations and definitely other people's expectations. And I get it. I think he's been doing a lot more things right. And I think he's, definitely made the point where it's like he is not the seventh guy that we kind of like threw him into the rotation, going into this season, or maybe even last season where we're on the fence of like, yeah, I don't know. He's definitely at least shown me that he is above like taxi squad level.
Oh, he's way above tech. Right now, he's your best defenseman.
Yeah.
I've gotten into a couple arguments about this, and people tell me, no, it's the pickle. Not yet.
Mm-mm.
Granted, the pickle is drawing heavier assignments. But Wyatt Kaiser has been your best defenseman. He's dictating play a good amount, which is just incredible. So, I know some people that have been very supportive of Wyatt through all of this, and they're giving me the old, see, told you so.
I'm like, yes, you were right.
But he's played phenomenal. So, and he occasionally has to play with Artie, so that's difficult.
But Artie's great. We love Artie.
Well, Artie's got a lot to learn. Artie fits the system of being more aggressive. There's chatter about should he be up? Should he not be up? Are they ruining him like Korchinski? I'm going to tell everybody on that subject.
That's a totally different. They're nowhere near each other.
It is totally different. Kevin Korchinski played the year scared, and I don't want to say overwhelmed. It was survival mode.
He also played his first. There was no Rockford or break time in between. And he also played on a significantly worse team his first year. Artie's coming in after at least having, I want to say, like half or 3/4 of a year in Rockford under his belt. And he has a better partner and a better team in front of him. I think Core was thrown in way more into a deeper end, maybe to, I don't know,
but
Kyle Davidson's pride, but he was thrown into a significantly deeper pool than Artie.
But Core was trying to just survive, get to the puck and ring it around and get it out.
Yeah.
Now, if you'll notice with Artie at all times is trying to make hockey plays. He might not make them all the time,
but he's trying.
But his intention is to make. Korchinski never really tried to make hockey plays unless the other team changed and there was no pressure on him.
Yeah.
It's two different animals. We can talk for a second about the 11-7 if you want to.
We can. I'm kind of in favor. I mean, it seems to be working right now, especially with, I feel like there's a constant, or at least for the first couple of weeks, there's been a consistent guy out, whether it's Nick Foligno leaving for personal reasons, Landon Slaggert being out, now the Dick is out. I feel like there's a consistent guy out in the mix. So I think the 11-7 at least suits them more on the forward line. Who knows if Sam Lafferty plays a game for the Blackhawks this year. And I think this, on the flip side with defensemen, this only benefits Artie. Bastian Pop has the ability to essentially put him in the positions that he wants to put him in, and can kind of shelter him from situations where maybe he knows that it's not Artie's strong suit, or there's a high likeliness of Artie to be a little bit out of his depth.
Exactly. There's a lot of folds to it. Number one, I don't think Lafferty will ever play. Reichel scored 2 goals and then still is seeing the pine. Artie's got some good matrix numbers. And again, when people tell you that, you need to understand that Artie is, as you stated, being sheltered. He's getting a lot of offensive zone starts. That's by design.
And that's okay. Being sheltered does not mean that there's something wrong with your game. He is just not being flung into the deep end.
Right. Now, it works out perfectly for them right now. It gets Artie a good amount of minutes. It gets him up with the big league coaches. Also, as you pointed out, Flo had, the thing with the daughter, which, thank goodness, everything that I'm hearing is that went well.
Yes.
So, and that's a lot more important than any kind of hockey issue. There's nothing scarier as a parent than your child going through physical stuff. So, and then the Dick's been out. So you've kind of had it. Now, when they're both healthy, I don't know exactly what they do, because then you basically have 4 lines set. I'm a proponent of it's not harming Artie to be up here, but I am agreement with other people that state I think it becomes counterproductive if he's up here and he's scratched every other night.
I definitely agree, as I kind of went off onto my tangent last week. I think the one thing that I would hate to see happen is Artie doesn't play. I think what doesn't matter where, at least to me, I think the most harmful thing for a Tiny Tots development is just not playing. Because then you kind of get into, if you're not playing for so long, then it kind of starts to do a little mind games with you. And I know we discussed that Artie is a different breed of a human, but I would imagine with any hockey players, you're scratched X amount of times for so long. I mean, it's got to.
Well, you need to be playing hockey. Yeah, you need to be playing hockey. The schedule makers have been nice to the Hawks. They basically had 3 games a week. They don't have a back-to-back until like week 6. This schedule doesn't start to become condensed until about then. And I think at that point in time, they'll evaluate and make a decision.
Yeah.
And I think that decision will be either they're going to trot him out basically every game, maybe fill in creature for him occasionally, or he goes back to Rockford. Either way is fine.
Also, are we so bold to assume that we're not going to have somebody else hurt by then?
Well, you're never bold enough to think that Murphy will be healthy and not held together by duct tape by week 6. No.
Poor Connor Murphy.
And I also have another belief of why Artie's up here, but, that's just because I truly believe they want Kevin Korchinski running the number 1 power play. They want Kevin Korchinski playing a lot of minutes. There will not be a higher time to sell Kevin Korchinski than after this year. Yeah. Now, if Artie goes down there, now then Artie starts taking away from that. So just to put it out there, there's that possibility.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like to throw out a little nugget for anybody who's listened to us for an hour and go, ooh, ah. See, that's the stuff you can put on the X and the Y and the Z and then get a lot of responses. What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah.
Okay. All right, Krusty. Got anything else for this week?
For this week? What's this week?
It's a light
games,
week.
Right?
We got Tampa.
We got Tampa.
We have the Kings.
Yep.
We have Ottawa. We will record before our trip.
Okay. All right. So, no, I don't have much. We've got a nice open slate. The boys, I believe, are leaving tomorrow for Tampa. They're going to enjoy they left today. Going to enjoy some weather. I'm sure.
I would highly encourage you to go look at the Top Gun pictures.
Was that Artie in the Top Gun picture?
That was all of them because it's Gangrene's birthday.
Okay.
Artie looked the most ridiculous, and I love it.
Yeah, that's the only picture I saw. I didn't understand a lot of it, but they'll do some team bonding stuff. They're catching Tampa at a good time. Let's continue this. This has been entertaining. They've been in every game.
Let's do this.
I can't ask for anything more.
No.
I'm on board. We're going all the way.
Krusty's drinking Kool-Aid. And on that note, just as a reminder, friends, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. If you are going to a game this season, you won. Please wait for the whistle. Do not get up all the pucks in play. 2, if you are going to a game this season, say hi to us. We're in section 330. 3, if you are going to a game this season, please head over to Su Taqueria El Rey del Taco over on Ogden. The food is great. The people are great. And it's only a couple of blocks away from the United Center. Krusty, final thoughts?
Nope. Let's continue this.
All right. That is all. We'll talk to you guys next week.